Welcome to Cosmic Channels. Open minds on cosmic lines. To call in to future episodes of Cosmic Channels, follow Cosmic Channels on YouTube and Twitch and tune in live Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. The number is 1-833-703-0424. The Cosmic Channels are open. Boom, we're live.
Woo! I'm BJ Cheeks.
I'm Zeltron.
I'm Dan.
And if you're watching, that little square is just Cosmic Channels today, no Andrew.
We're taking all calls today on UFO and aliens. Your stories, your theories. If you've seen anything, let us know. You can give us a call at 1-833-703-0424. We're taking your calls now.
And we have a guy on the line or someone on the line. Let's find out who it is. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, how's it going? This is Steven from Cleveland, Ohio.
Hey, Steven, thanks for calling.
Yeah, really excited to talk to you guys. Been listening to you on AT&T for a while, and just recently on this separate podcast. But
cheers.
Excited to be on the line with you guys. So, real quick, I've had probably two experiences with UFOs, and the one I want to discuss today is very recent, February 2nd to be exact. I have some videos and photos and such that I could send you guys.
Please.
But yeah, for sure, I'll send them over to you guys that specifically relate to what I'm discussing today. So on February 2nd, I work exclusively from home as in HR technology. You know, most people work from home nowadays, but anyhow, I had back issues with my chair, because I sit, at my desk for several hours a day, 10 hours a day.
Damn.
One day I had enough, told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to Micro Center. I'm going to buy a new chair. So went out to Micro Center, bought the chair that I wanted. I was driving back home, and I was at a stoplight, and there's probably 5 or 6 cars ahead of me. And I'm just sitting there, and I look up, and I see a number of orbs, glowing orbs, like very low altitude, very low. And they were kind of like disappearing and reappearing. I'm like, this is fucking weird. So there's like a, where I was stopped at the light, there's a mom and pop sandwich shop.
Yeah.
So I pulled in and, I pulled up into a parking space. I'm sitting there watching these things. And I was just amazed. And it was probably like 2 or 3 minutes where I'm sitting there watching these just orbs. They're just white, like almost like an opaque color. Just bizarre formation. It was definitely equal distance. And I'm watching them, and I'm pulled up where I'm parked is like directly in front of the building. There's only 2 businesses in this building, and they're moving beyond the building to where I can't see them. So, I'm watching it for a few minutes, and I'm like, holy fuck, why am I not like recording this? And I pull out my phone, and there was still one within view. So I recorded that in the video. And again, I'll email it to you guys or, put it on Facebook or something. But you can see it's definitely moving. And it's just this white, luminous object kind of moving almost erratically. So it's back and forth and almost up and down. And then it goes, that one that I recorded also goes beyond the building. So I throw my truck in reverse, pulled back out into the street. And then again, I am stuck at the light. At this point, the light was red again. I'm behind some vehicles, and, I only saw one when I was back out onto the road. I don't know if it was the one that passed over the building or a different one. Not entirely sure. But I'm watching this object, and it's just sitting there, almost hovering over the intersection, maybe 200 feet in the air. And the best way I can describe it is it began to perform like a corkscrew motion. So where it was going around itself and then up at the same time, and then disappeared into the clouds. And I was like, out of my mind. I was like, this is crazy. Like, what am I seeing here? So I was so excited to get home, tell my wife, and I'm driving home, maybe a mile and a half down the road. I see it. I don't know if it's the same thing. I have no idea. But I see something that looks the same reappear in front of me, hovering over this gas station, and then it kind of like blinks and dissipates, and then I don't see it again. So when I was driving home, it looked to me like it was over this gas station where I normally would turn to go down my road to my house. But, it could have been much further in the distance, but it definitely like pulsated and appeared, and then pulsated and just completely disappeared. It was a really bizarre experience.
Whoa. So it started with what looked like orbs in the sky, and then it turned into then it was a craft, and that same craft, you think you've seen it later on your drive home, or something very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know when I was stopped at the light initially, and I looked up, there was a number of these orbs.
Right.
I would say, it's bizarre. When you're in that circumstance and you see something that's just so out of the ordinary, you don't really take the time to account for every detail. But I would say it was between 5 and a dozen of these orbs in a very specific pattern across the sky. And They were disappearing and reappearing. And once I pulled into the business there and pulled up to the building, I only had that one in my view at that point. And I was just watching it move across the sky, and it would move with intent for sure, and just in bizarre patterns. So, to the right, stop, up, down, up, down. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was just all over the place. And then once it moved beyond the building to where I couldn't see it with my eyes, I backed up, got back in the road, and then I saw it above the intersection, or at least one of them above the intersection, which kind of did this weird corkscrew, like not fast, not super.
It's like a slow upward
it shot
spiral
up into the sky. Yeah, like a spiral, like short movements in circles.
Now, when you see him here, when you see it in the intersection, now you have a better vantage point. Is it still just an orb, like a glowing orb, or does it look more craft-like then, like metallic?
So it didn't look like any craft that I'm aware of. And shout out to Dan. I was in the Navy for 10 years as well.
Boom.
So, I know aircrafts. I know we don't have any military bases around where I live.
Right.
And it was just really strange. Like, it didn't shoot straight up. It was really kind of like a methodical circling motion as it went up. And that's the best way I could.
Yeah, we got a question in chat is what size do you think this orb was when you got a good look at it from below?
Yeah. So I think it was probably, I would say 3 to 6 feet in diameter.
Oh, so quite small.
And Yeah, it wasn't. No, yeah, exactly. It wasn't very large. You know, when I was filming it, it was my truck was parked, so I rolled down the window, and you know, I braced my arms on the you know, the windowsill there, and just recorded it. And you could see it definitely moving with intent. And you know, in hindsight, like when I first saw it, I wish I would have pulled out my camera because there were several of them. And like I said, some were kind of like dimming out while others were illuminating. But
Right.
it seemed like the formation or the pattern was the same. It was
Right.
really, really strange. And, you know, even when I pulled into the building or into the business and I'm watching this, it wasn't until, you know, several minutes to where I'm like, holy fuck, I should be recording this. And I grab my phone and start recording it. And, you know, I was so excited to get home, tell my wife. It was a crazy experience. And, you know, like I said, maybe mile and a half, 2 miles away from where I originally saw them, I saw one, it was just one at that time, basically appear and then simply just disappear right in front of me. It was insane.
Yeah, that's a cool story. And then to have the same thing happen on the way home, or similar thing.
Right, yeah. It was the exact same shape, exact same look. It was like an opaque white, and it just appeared. It was there for several seconds, and then kind of just like somebody, like if you had a dimmer switch on your light, like in a room,
Gotcha.
and you kind of just dimmed it all the way down, and then it was out. That's what I saw.
And you said it was like, so when it spiraled, it was like, but spiraling going up. Is that what you had said earlier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So when I pulled out back into the street, that's the only one that I saw that was remaining. And I don't know if it was the same one that I was recording because, you know, like I said, it moved beyond the building. And the way the parking in that particular building, it's basically you're pulling right up to the building. So, you know, as it moved beyond the building and I didn't have any view of it, that's when I moved back or backed up, went back out into the road and was again at a red light.
Right.
And I could see it above the intersection. And yeah, it wasn't like it shot straight up. It was just circling itself almost.
Like a slow rise. Like,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Now,
then went beyond the clouds.
We got more calls on the line, but before we let you go, what's your thoughts? What's your theories? What do you think it was?
Man, I don't know, dude. Like, I wish I would have captured on camera what I saw initially.
Right.
Because it was so impressive and crazy. I don't know what to make of it, but I'll certainly, post a video or email it to you guys so you guys can see it as well.
Yeah,
make sure to send it.
Are you watching the live stream by any chance?
I'm not watching it right now.
Okay, I was going to say if you are watching it, upload a link in the chat. But yeah, if not, send it to us and we'll take a peek at it. CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com if you could.
All right, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, bye.
Unexplained phenomena. So like those, you hear a lot about that's like an orb, like the orb phenomena. Not necessarily a craft, but like, I mean, people sometimes say like, oh, that's ball lightning, but ball lightning's so misunderstood. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. That could be a craft, and that's how we perceive it, and it's like a different dimensional craft. Who knows?
What time of day was it?
I don't know.
I'm guessing it was
When he shows the video, we'll get
we'll
a
take a
better
look.
idea.
Because I've seen a couple videos of the Starlink satellites, and they kind of look like what he's describing.
Yeah, but
They
he
didn't
says it's
spiral,
right
though.
right above the intersection, spiraling upwards
and the Starlink they go like straight across the sky.
in a line.
To take a look at them, because these ones look a little bit different.
Okay,
Not
well,
like the set ones, but like they're, I don't know. Some people take ones, and when they reflect, they kind of change. It looks like they're changing position, but when they reflect the light from ground sources, it's weird. I don't know. I'm looking at it now, and it looks
all
right,
right,
like that.
we'll have to look at a video. All right, bringing another caller. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, this is Eric Smith. How you boys doing?
Hey, Eric. Good to have
Good
you.
man, how are you?
Hey, doing good. Hey, I'm calling from West Virginia.
Woo!
Legit
Country
West
roads,
Virginia.
Take us home.
Yep, West Virginia.
Hell
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
We were just talking about we're waiting for a person actually from West Virginia to call in so we can stop beaking Dan about not being from West Virginia.
Hey, that's me. Yeah, I sent you a message that I was going to call in.
Right
But,
on. Appreciate it. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I've got a short one for you. Actually, it's not a first-hand encounter. It's a story passed down to me from my grandfather, and he was a real straightforward. Grew up hunting and trapping and fishing for their food kind of guy, and his wife, my grandmother, she was complete opposite. She believed in everything paranormal and extraterrestrial, and he was diehard skeptic. You know, he didn't buy into any of it, and but he was out hunting one day, and they actually lived above us. My parents, they kind of built a house right there beside their place, and we were probably 3-4 miles from any neighbors, up a dirt road and back in the holler, which is how a lot of people are over here in West Virginia. And anyway, he was hunting. I think he was squirrel hunting. It was probably early fall, probably mid-September. Leaves were probably still green. This was taking place back in the 70s, I'd say. And he told me a story a couple times. This is one of the few things that really made him question his him being skeptical on paranormal and ET stuff. But he got up on a ridge top, and while he was hunting, and he was way above the tree line, and he said something caught the corner of his eye. It was midday, and pretty day out, sunny, and said he looked down in the holler and said there was a perfect circle, probably 50 yards or so. He said in diameter. Said a perfect circle burn out of the treetops.
Whoa.
And said it completely burned all the leaves off the trees in a perfect circle like that. Said he couldn't explain it. Said it didn't look like anything he'd ever seen before. It just looked like something hot sat right down on the trees, or something took off or hovered above them. But it was wild, though. Then, of course, my grandmother, he tells her about it, and she's going apeshit, saying it's,
She's like, we need to
UFOs.
build a new house away from here.
Oh, no, she was down. She's into that kind of stuff. She's all excited about it. And, but yeah, it was wild. It was a story that always stuck with me. It was one that he would always tell us. But
As that story is passed down, what was there? Did they inspect any closer, like the ground underneath where the trees were burnt, like, or was it just seen the circle from above?
that was it. Just seeing the circle. For my understanding, it actually startled him pretty good, and he came home after that. But as years went by, I mean, we've all hunted the same area and never seen anything.
So that no one else had seen like the burnt trees after it happened. Like he doesn't really remember where it was exactly.
Well, I mean, he remembers. He's told me exactly where it was. We've actually been to where it was, but it's been many years after it happened. And
Right.
I mean, back then he was. I mean, they lived up there about as remote as you can get in our area. Nobody else would have seen it, and but it was one of those things that in his mind, you know, who would he tell? You know, people would think he was crazy or wouldn't believe him. But
That's a wild
he just
tale.
kind of, yeah, it was wild. It was something, like I say, he could just never make sense of it. But
So he just kept it in the family. He never really reached out any news sources. He just said, seen something weird and just kind of kept it to himself more or less in his immediate family.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's uncommon for that age group, though.
Definitely not.
No, like I say, he was born in the 30s, mid-30s, and he was a military man. And he, like I say, just complete skeptic. He really didn't believe in that kind of stuff, but that made him question it. But then, like I said, my grandmother, she had a brother that was in the military in the 50s, and he had supposedly witnessed some shady stuff that he couldn't disclose. And she was a firm believer, and but
awesome.
So she was all about it there. But
awesome, man. Hey, thanks for sharing that.
yeah, no problem. Yeah. Yep. We'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Cheers, man. Thanks for the story.
tuning
Thanks
in.
a lot. Yeah.
Have a good one.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Perfect burnt circle in the trees. I almost that's why I asked about the ground. Like, was there like a meteorite that went undetected or something? Like a small meteorite?
Maybe.
Which is equally, that's also cool because that's really, really rare to have like a small one actually impact the ground and like cause damage.
Just like a tiny little airburst or something, just like over the trees.
That makes sense. Yeah, small airburst, but 50 yards doesn't seem big enough for airburst, but who knows?
No.
Cool story. Another caller. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hello?
We got you.
Oh, shit. Am I on?
You're on.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on?
Taking some calls, having some fun.
Right on. Actually, I missed the memo. What's the topic for tonight?
We're looking for aliens or UFO stories or theories, ideally. But what do you got?
Okay. Well, I don't personally have an alien story, but my girlfriend does.
Sure.
David, you want to hear about the one with the blue ball?
No.
Okay, well, she's a little shy. But
I heard a no.
I'll try to tell it.
Come on, tell us. Get her to tell it. Get her to tell it.
Tell me.
Okay, so we were on our way to Fresno, and maybe a little bit before hitting Madera.
We're from California.
Okay, by the way, yeah, we're from Merced, California. So we were on our way to Fresno, and the freeway, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden, there was three of us in the car. Okay, I was in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden, I saw this, kind of like a glowing, I would say, honestly, it wasn't anything. It was just kind of like a blur, like a really shiny light that just kind of hovered over my car, and it went past on top of my car, and we looked back, and all of a sudden, we saw it disappear. Me and another girlfriend of mine saw it, but my sister didn't get to see it. Once we saw that light, I just felt honestly frozen. It was creepy stuff. I'm like, what the hell was that? And come to find out that nearby, there's actually a little UFO, kind of like a little, whatchamacallit, maybe like a little station. I guess they get a lot of activity, going to Fresno or something.
Like a hotspot?
Yeah, like a hotspot. There you go, something
Okay.
like that. And I have another one.
Wait, before you tell that one, let's ask. Got a couple questions. So it was an orb. Was there a rough size, or how far away was it?
It was just a really no. It just looked like a glowing light. I couldn't make out much of it. It was just a glowing circle-like maybe object. You know, I couldn't make it out. It was just a glowing light that kind of hovered. You know, I saw it like over my car, and it went. You know, obviously it went up. When I looked back to see what it was, it just kind of like vanished out of nowhere.
Oh, so
Honestly, I didn't even look. It was just kind of creepy. And I wasn't the only one who saw it that night. But my first experience seeing, you know, something abnormal like that, I was on my way to pick up my mom maybe around midnight, and I come to a stop sign. I see a really skinny, tall, no, it was just a really skinny, honestly, it just looked like a really tall person, like with a big head. It was crossing the street. At first I thought, you know, okay, it was just somebody tall, but then it stops in front of my car.
what?
You know, it looks at me. I don't see the face. I just see eyes. I see it, you know, kind of look at me. And that time, I tried to step on my gas, but I completely froze. I could not move.
Wait, this wasn't the same night, was it?
No. This was my very first encounter with something like this. I told my boyfriend I've had about 3 different encounters. At one point, I was dreaming a lot about, you know, aliens-like stuff. So my uncle's like, do you think you've ever been abducted? And I had never thought about it until then. But my very first experience...
You see a tall figure cross the road.
Yes, a tall...
Was it wearing any clothes? Was it naked? Skin color? What can you describe it? Like, what can you describe of it?
No. No, it had a hood on. I remember that much. I remember it being tall. It had a hood, like almost as if it was trying to like blend in. At first, I thought it was a person. When it stops in front of my car, you know, I was at a stop sign. When it stops in front of my car, you know, I see it turn and look at me with some huge eyes, and I'm like, that's when I knew, okay, that is not a person.
Were they black or were they white?
The eyes?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It just had really big eyes. Well, I guess I could see the black shine, but when it looked at me, I completely froze. I could not move. I could not step on my gas. And after it finished crossing the road, that's when I stepped on my gas. I picked up my mom from work. I was like, yo, I just saw this happened, and she did not believe me. She's like, okay, you're crazy. But I knew something was totally abnormal from that experience. That was my first encounter.
And then later on is when you seen the orb?
Yes, that was there was 3 of us girls in the car on our way to Fresno, and 2 of us saw it. So that's when I knew, okay, you know what? I'm not crazy. This is my second time I've experienced something like this. You know, something out of the ordinary. And I do believe in aliens, of course. You know, so, but of course, you know, my mom being a Hispanic older lady, she's like, you're crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think that creature was? Did it have anything to do? Do you think there's any connection between the orb and this creature, or is it just a one-off? You've seen this creature and then you've seen an orb and they're not really related?
Honestly, it probably wasn't the same one. I don't think so. You know, there was some time in between there. But that creature was definitely not a human.
You know what color?
So it was wearing just you said it's wearing some type of hood? Was that an article of clothing it was wearing, or
was it like a lizard hood?
I just remember like a hood. It was really tall, it was skinny, and it walked kind of fast, except when it stopped in front of my car.
And then you could only make out that it had these eyes, that didn't look human.
Just a really big head and like these huge eyes.
When you say really big,
but I've had other...
Sorry, when you say really big, do you mean like a big round head or like a long head? Or what kind of big head?
Like a really long head. Well, the top was kind of big.
So like
I guess you could say. Well, I mean,
would you describe it as like the typical like alien drawing where it's like pointing at the bottom?
No. No, it was just a really long, big head. But I've had.
Was it wearing like a robe or
dreams where-
something? Like, how was it? Like, you could see the legs moving, right? You could see its legs individually taking steps, and
I guess you could say it was just wearing like a normal black hoodie or something like that. It wasn't a
Okay.
robe because it wasn't covering the bottom. But then I didn't
Right.
pay very much attention to the bottom, except when it was walking kind of fast. But
Okay.
I was the only car at that time at the four-way stop,
Right.
and it was actually near my home. So I was questioning it, but at the same time, like I knew something was not right.
How late was it?
This was maybe like 10. I'm sorry, not 10. Like 11 or 12 at night, because that's usually the time my mom would get off work, and I would have to go pick her up.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So dark, quite dark out.
Oh yeah. Definitely was dark. And then in the area where I saw it, it was for sure dark. There was not a whole lot of street light, and that's why like I can't remember the whole bottom part, but I remember it wearing a hoodie. But when it turned to look at me in the car, in front of me, that's when I knew it was not human.
Strange. I wonder if there's any.
Strange.
Dan, do you know of any cryptids from that area in the lore that people
like Fresno, Fresno,
Well,
California.
just like West Coast in general, not specifically.
I mean,
like Bigfoot. California's a big state.
The one on my way to Fresno, that was on the freeway. And you know what was funny? What I explained to everybody, and my girlfriend. Okay, so when we were on our way there was traffic. When this orb hovered over my car, there was no traffic. We're like, where the hell did the cars go?
Weird.
That was creepy there.
No kidding.
Because there was traffic. All of a sudden, when we saw this orb, there was no semis, there was no cars behind us. We're like, what the hell? That freaked me and my friend out more because we're the ones who saw it. My sister was driving. She did not see it.
sounds like a loss of time.
No, definitely. That's why we were like, what the fuck? Where did the cars go? That was the creepiest part of that night. Since then, I'm like, okay, I'm not going at night anymore.
Never a bad call.
It was a trip. Yeah, but what I explained to my uncle when he's like, do you think you've ever been abducted by them? Because, I remember having a lot of strange dreams about them being, it's them being, over me. I remember, laying down and them, at least 3 or 4 of them being, over me. But, again, I don't know if it was me being paranoid, but my uncle swears maybe
That's a different time though, right?
Abducted.
That's a different different experience completely, right?
I've had 3 different experiences with them. Well, at least I believe.
Right. If you save that one and call back next time we talk about aliens, because we got a couple more calls on the line. We got to keep moving, but we appreciate that story.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Those are good.
Right on. But real quick, what's the topic for next week? Is that just open for whatever?
Open lines.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Because I got some cool experiences with remote viewing,
Oh,
like personal experiences.
definitely call back.
Perfect.
That's
Save them
awesome.
next week.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Well, you guys are my heroes. We love you. ATT for life.
Cheers.
Cosmic Channel, same. But all right, you guys have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
Take it easy.
Thanks to both of you.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Right.
I can be your hero, baby.
What? What?
You
We're his heroes.
Are you singing Enrique?
Oh.
Enrique? Awesome. Let's bring another caller on the line. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
So good, man.
Hell yeah.
What you drinking tonight, Zell?
Oh, I got some Irish whiskey
Ooh,
going on here.
looks like rum, and I thought it was
They look the same.
some rum.
In the glass, they look the same.
Amen. So my name is Elliot. Once again, Indiana.
Right on.
Amen. Okay, so I've I've been waiting for this Open Lines Cosmic Channels for once again, to get back onto the actual reason that you guys started this whole podcast.
Yeah.
To open back up to you guys. I've got two. Okay, so the first one would have been when I was very, very young. And I can go ahead and skip that. Basically, my sisters, I have two sisters, and I. It was a really boring summer, and I can kind of skim over this one. My older sister, and this would have been, like I said, 96 or 97. Pretty young, super young. But what we saw was a light in the sky and it was a little bright to be seeing a star. But what we did is we did see what looked to be a single star that was not a moving light in the sky, but instead it was stationary. And then because it was pretty bright still out, my older sister, actually, because we didn't have TV at the time, but we're in the living room trying to watch TV. And so we're watching some really bull crap TV shows. She's just like, do you guys want to go outside? And then she goes and she's looking out back. And at the time we had about 1.5 acres of land in our backyard. And she sees a light in the sky, and she's like, what is this? She is my older sister at every point of our life. And so she's like, there's this thing. So we all go and look at it, but then all of a sudden it basically takes right off. And so this was my first experience with anything that had to do with paranormal or aliens or UFOs.
Right.
Okay. Whew. This next one, though. We're going to go ahead and shoot forward.
The first one was a warm-up.
Yeah.
Warm us up,
Yes, sir.
butter us up with the first one to drop the hammer down.
Test the waters.
Oh, man, it was super cool. And actually, we didn't even tell our parents about this because of, like my mom is my hero, and we didn't try to waste our time on our childish ways. But I mean, that kind of stuck with all of us, and we all basically we still remember that. And so anyhow, moving forward, it's 2010, 2012, somewhere right around there. And this is in Indiana, in a really small town called Franklin. And we're right outside of the Legends Golf Course, which is, man, I don't know if anybody plays golf, but apparently this is supposed to be like a reputable golf course, and it's super cool. It was right outside of our neighborhood.
Right.
We all had good friends who actually lived on the golf course. And so every once in a while we would go and we would ride the golf carts, because we're just a bunch of stoners. And every once in a while we'd get fucked up and go ride the golf carts and have fun, just riding around. So
as you do
so I'm gonna
on a
let
golf
you know.
course.
Huh?
As you do on a golf course, get drunk and drive the carts around.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's the only
God.
place you can.
It's so
I don't
fun.
know if it's legal to drink and drive, but
It's not.
everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone just kind of turns a blind eye to golf course drinking and driving.
Oh, hell yeah, especially in Indiana. So if you're ever in the area and you want to play, I mean, I've got accidentally about 3 sets of, I'm not even kidding, like my grandfather had 4 sets and I sold one. So, I mean, I'm a piece of shit for, but he's still alive. So, don't judge me on that one.
Doesn't need 4 sets. It's all good.
No. And actually, my Uncle Eric has a couple clubs that came from him on a separate occasion. So this is all definitely a moot point. It doesn't matter. Okay, so it's about 11 o'clock p.m. and we look up, and okay, so I actually looked this up, by the way, because I wanted to make sure that I'm not just freaking out about this, because I'm with both my sisters, and then there are also a couple of my really good friends, and I say a couple, but Sam, I can give you all of their first names. Sam and Dylan and Brent are all with us, and then my 2 sisters. We look up into the sky basically while we're on one of these rendezvous. And I mean, like we are smoking at the time, but then my friend Sam looks up and he says, "My God, guys, look, like, what is that in the sky?" And it is just, it's a light that is coming in and out of our vision. It's almost like a star that's, I don't know, man. It's basically the color of a star, and it almost seems to be, about that far away. But what we are seeing is it fading in and out, along with a cluster of other stars in the same area that are not supposed to be there, that are fading in and out. And so I'm like, yeah, man, like that's the International Space Station, probably, like docking.
Okay.
And at the time, this is just about somewhere between 10 and 12, 2010 or 12, they had the app. So you could find out where the sucker was. And it wasn't anywhere near us. So and then also on top of that, I also have the Google star map. And so I'm looking basically into the sky with my phone.
Yeah, and it shows
I'm trying to look for stars that are maybe like at the same point. What do they say? A star's life, and then like the light that you're seeing fades in and out naturally, because what do they say? Light years, a light year. I mean, that's how long the light takes to reach you. So it could just be a regular star whose light is not reaching us at the time. But then we start seeing, at first it was like, I would say about 4, but then it becomes 7, and 7 turns to 10, that are just all appearing around the central point that is not disappearing.
Weird.
It was super cool. I have no explanation for it. I obviously I don't know what these lights are in the sky.
Just a quick question. So the center light where you would see these other lights around, could you actually see these other lights like break away from it, or was it this situation where there's this one central light and all of a sudden these other ones just pop up right around it?
Okay, so it's like originally there's about 3 lights, 3 to 4, and then there's always that central one that you don't stop seeing. But then the other 3 or 2 around it are actually kind of like, it's almost like they're dissipating right around the central point in random intervals. And then all of a sudden, and this is kind of maybe another moot point, because I have no idea how to explain this, but it's like every time that you see one of these basically fade out or dissipate, it doesn't come back in the same location, but you start seeing a little more and a little more, basically in the sky, and it's indescribable in every form.
Right. So there's a central point coming in and out. At first, you thought maybe it was like a star that its light has just started to reach us for the first time or something. That's what your first thoughts went to. But what's your final thought on it? What do you think it is?
Honestly, my first thought is that it was a spaceship of another. I don't know if I'd go this far, but Planet Vegeta can't be too far from us, and I'm just throwing it out there.
That'd be awesome.
We've got to have some visitors. Probably after all the time that we've been here talking about and doing we'll skip everything else that I want to actually say, but I'm looking at it and 100% from the beginning, there's about 4 lights in the sky, and there's one constant one that is not a star. It is not a star. And then there are lights around it. And then I said, this could just be 100%, the docking and or, basically just the International Space Station, because I've always been interested since I've been young in the whole space thing, and especially aliens. And so once I found out that, 1997 or 8, that the International Space Station was launched, and then after about 2004, you could start tracking it on your phone. Okay. So I was like, all right, so let's just go ahead and see, is this our good old buddy, and maybe we're kind of witnessing, a docking process where there are other spaceships, who are kind of coming in and out of, or trying to.
The only thing I'll interject with is that seems to have multiple dockings where you would need something like that to attribute all the lights. I've never heard of that happening at the ISS.
One docking at a time.
It seems like that would be a high-risk operation to dock numerous things all at once.
Well, maybe it wasn't ISS. It was a different station is what you're saying? Like it could have been like an ET station or something?
Well, man, I don't know how big the ISS is. And I'm not going to be honest with you. I've never been on it. I just,
fair point.
I have no idea how many docking points the ISS actually has. But what I do know is that a lot of the times that, people bring up points about things in the sky, just shooting across the sky, especially, but at the same point, the speed, okay, so it's sitting here. Very, everything is sitting here. And then there just starts to be lights coming up around it. And that at some point, there's as much as, I would say, probably, and like I said, man, we're smoking. We're getting fucked up. like this is the reason that we're outside. But then my bud, sees the light in the sky, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" And then everybody, like we all get out of the cruisers, and then we're smoking, but we're enjoying our time, kind of basically watching this phenomenon, whatever it is. And
Yes.
I can't tell you what it is or speculate even further, but what I hope it is maybe some other race who's probably looking at us too, having a really good time, all at the same time that, all my buddies are getting fucked up. And I mean, hey, maybe we're not the only planet that fucks around with shit they're probably not supposed to.
I don't doubt that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, we got to keep moving. But we appreciate the call. That is a unexplained aerial something up there. Something going on.
Right on, man.
All
Thank you guys so much for your time.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Thanks. Take it easy.
Bye.
Peace out.
Okay, we got time for a couple more shorter ones, or one epic one. We'll see what happens here. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey there, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Cody from Manitoba.
Hey, Cody.
Hey, Cody. Woo!
I think I should recognize your name, but I'm just it's hard in the headphones, I guess.
Hey man, I mean, you guys talk to a lot of people, it's understandable.
What do you got for us?
So I have a story from my grandma, actually, UFO story. So I was talking to her the other day. She told it to me a while ago, and I kind of forgot about it for a while. And then I asked her about it recently because I knew you guys were having a UFO episode soon. So I asked her about it, and she told me the entire story, and it's pretty cool. So she said it was about 2011 or 2012. And she was working the night shift. She was she worked as like a psych nurse.
Okay.
And she was allowed to go home early. So she went home about 4 a.m. because she was working the night shift because it was really quiet at work. And she was about 2 kilometers. She lived out of town at that point in a town called Alexander. It's about 20 minutes away from Brandon. And she said she was 2 kilometers east of a little village called Kemney, which is about 10 minutes out of Brandon. And she said she saw a tower of about 3 lights in the field to the left. There were no guide wires or anything. She pulled over to take a picture. And then as soon as she went to do that, and I don't think she got a picture, but as soon as she went to do that, it lifted up and took off north faster than she could follow.
Damn.
And then one of my dad's instructors at the college that he was going to saw it as well because he lives out in the area. And as well as my boss at one of my jobs, she said she saw something similar in the field right across the street from me. There's a school, and she said she saw something similar to that land in the school, like in the schoolyard beside my place, like a few years ago before I lived here. And my grandma also said that she has like maybe some pictures that would resemble it, not pictures of it, but a picture that might resemble it, that she's going to send me at some point soon.
Has she described it to you, though? Can you describe it from her description?
Yeah, she said it was, it had multicolored lights on it, and it was about the size of a cell tower, or taller than a cell tower, sorry.
It was
had multicolored lights.
And it was just like floating in the sky.
No, it was like landed in the field. Well, it seemed like it landed in the field.
Or at least close enough to the ground.
Imprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really tall. So like a cell tower. What are we talking here? Like a big cell tower, like a 5-story cell tower or something.
At least, yeah, like probably 200. Well, I don't know how big cell towers are. I'm kind of bad with numbers, but
probably like maximum's like 200 feet. So 50 to 200 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, that big one would be a 20-story, 200-footer. That'd be a giant one.
Yeah, I would say mine probably done like 50, 60 feet, maybe. I don't know.
But still, that's for a UFO. Like depth wise, like how big was it? Was like so it was as high as a cell tower, but like how like wide, like how big was the shape, or was it more like a rocket style, like a upwards one?
No, she said it was like it was kind of shaped like a building, like a square type of building.
Oh, okay.
Like a rectangular.
So different shape than a traditional craft that you usually hear about.
But it was like all black. The only thing you could see was lights on it. And it was kind of like reflective. And same with my boss. She said she saw the exact same thing out in the field in the schoolyard beside me.
And it's one of those things where it's like the next day, like obviously there's not a structure where they see this.
Right. Like as soon as she said, my grandma said she went to pull over and take a picture of it. And as soon as she went to take a picture of it, it was like they knew she was checking it out. And it just like took off to the north, like faster than she could keep an eye on it.
Did it fly did it like angle itself when it was moving? Did she describe it like how it like took off? Like, was it moving like it it didn't really care about physics and it just kind of lifted up and then went straight, or did it angle itself?
Plowed sideways through the air?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. She didn't say that much.
Okay.
Huh, but
I didn't ask.
She witnessed it take off and fly towards the horizon and gone.
Right. And like I said, one of my dad's instructors at the college that he was going to said he lives out in the area and he saw the exact same thing as well at the same night. Like at the same time.
Oh, from a different angle, different location.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, something that big, I'm sure there's more people then. If something was that big that took off. And flew.
I wonder if you got the exact date. If we could scan through the the MUFON database and see if there's other people who possibly reported it.
I think my grandma sent me. I think she sent me a link I can send you guys, and there was like a bunch of different stories on the news in our area. I don't know if it was the same date or not, but I'll send you a link and you can look it up.
Yeah, send us whatever you have. That's a pretty crazy UFO, like an actual craft that seemed to be that big that took off and flew. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to think that it would angle itself to take off, not just fly sideways.
Well,
like straight up.
We have no idea what their kind of propulsion systems are, right? Like,
yeah, well, like Bob Lazar, like he, how he talks about them is that they do not respond to like traditional physics. Like they're almost like warping the space around them. They can just like move. So like that's why they move so fast in his mind, is that because they like there's no inertia because there's no like gravity like reversing it or something. But who knows really? But some obviously that's not aerodynamic, like a square tall like ship. There's no way like without like a huge like rocket thrust, like how would it get off the ground?
Yeah, exactly. And like you would think if it's building, like if it's as big as a building, or a building shaped, it would probably have like it must have some kind of like living situation going on in it too.
Yeah, maybe like a full on
like it's like a
self-contained
like
craft.
Like a whole like new like environment or something.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, she told me that a few years ago and I kind of forgot about it, and then like I said, I saw you guys were doing the open channels and I was like, I should definitely tell you guys of that one, because that one's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it.
That's all I got for now, though.
Yeah, that's good. We're going to take one more call for tonight, but thanks for the story.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Bye, Cody.
Later, Cody.
Bye.
Cheers, Cody.
Yeah, that's quite the craft. If that's if it's that big, we could find the date. There should be more sightings of something like that. Well, he said there's one other one. What did he say was his uncle? Or a relative of some kind said they've seen it at a different angle.
Uncle.
Oh, that was like his employer.
Oh, no, yeah, his boss.
Right. Oh, someone was on the line, but they hung up. Call back. We got time for one more caller.
One last call.
We'll get a 2-minute warning. If no one calls, then we'll wrap this week's episode of Cosmic Channels up.
Next week, we have open lines. End of the week, we'll take whatever call. Paranormal, UFO, ghost, dreams, spirits, orbs, cryptids.
You name it.
Mystery. Whatever you got next week on Cosmic Channels.
You just want to call and yell at Braden? That's fine
You want
too.
to call? Just scream into the
Scream into the
telephone.
void.
You want to tell us funny pet stories? Funny pet stories are cool. Like those.
Open lines. Any topic.
Any topics should be fun. I love taking calls, man. Always create a bunch of awesome stories.
Yeah, it's the best.
I remember the first few episodes were like, what do you do when no one calls on a call-in show? Now we don't have that problem anymore. People just
No, we used to. There was a couple episodes where we sat here for 45 minutes.
we're like, oh, okay, let's just hang out.
It took one call. So no, it's starting to pick up. It's great.
All right, we're down to 1 minute warning. Cosmic Channels is wrapping up. Andrew should be back next week. He had to go friend of a friend save some lives tonight.
But I thought we fired him.
Oh, okay. We fired him.
Tell me it.
Fired him without me. That's perfect, though. That's easier. And I got a nice spot up in the corner of the stream for the Cosmic Channels logo.
Looks good.
Yeah.
All right. No calls. Someone hung up. They didn't call back.
All right. That's it.
Cosmic Channels.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Cosmic Channels is brought to you by Big Theory Productions. The Cosmic Channels are now closed.